welcome to live chat. Somebody's here. Hello, everybody. It's been a while since I've done a live chat, and there's only 2 or 3 people here, so let's make sure this is public and live. Share, mute microphone. Give me 1 second, and in the meantime, first, okay. So, I'm back, and I just actually did a short video to explain some of the Veritaseum ethos, and I'm going to try and do more multimedia, more media, more video posting, etc., and get more of the word out. Unfortunately, but I guess realistically, as Veritaseum grows, I actually need to share less and less, but I want to let everybody know what's going on. Okay, I like the interactive capabilities of you know, new media and the blockchain, etc. So let's see here. Sean said there's no sound. Okay, there should be sound. If anybody can hear me, tell me you can. If you can't hear me, tell me you cannot. Can you hear me, everybody? You sound fine, Reggie. Brett Prickett. Okay, let's go. So there are only 31 people online. There should be a lot more. So everybody who's online, please hit the like button, click the share button, share it to your favorite social media outlet, and hit subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, and hit that little bell button if you're not already on the notification list. And let's get questions going. Okay, I know I had some questions from the Telegram group. Abby, can you tell everybody the Telegram group that I'm on? And
I did.
you did? Okay. Can you read off some questions from the Telegram group for me?
There's none yet.
There were a few. Just scroll up to about 2 hours ago. One question was they wanted information on the JV. I, just as a background, I'm always been an entrepreneur. I've never really been in the corporate environment. Outside of an entrepreneurial corporate environment, I move very quickly. I'm not used to corporate red tape and bureaucracy, so I was under the impression that it wasn't a big deal to announce the JV. And in a more bureaucratic environment, it does take more time to get something that I think is relatively should be short in terms of time. So I'm not going to announce yet because I said I wouldn't, so I'm going to let them announce. But we are in the process of tokenizing and veritizing companies, and those companies will be listed on the exchange. And there's some very exciting stuff. I'm talking very exciting. Not done deals yet. Nothing is done until it's done. But we're looking at a Coca-Cola bottling and water bottling company. We're looking at water filtration, pharmacies, an automobile manufacturer potentially. Very interesting stuff. Some of the stuff is cash flowing, like the Coca-Cola bottling. I've never seen one go out of business. Very strong cash. We will veritize it and we will list it simultaneously. Cool stuff. Or at least that's the plan. I see questions are coming in, so give me a chance to scroll down and read some. Please keep the questions professional, mature, and common sense, okay? What is the plan to get Veri tokens to go up again? I don't have a plan to get Veri tokens to go up again. Remember, our business goal is to create value with our products. Don't speculate on price or attempt to push the price of the token. As demand picks up, and demand should pick up from quality and the desire to have the tokens to use them, then the economic value of the whole system should increase. And that's how we think, okay? How's your work going in Nigeria? Excelente. I'm going to Nigeria when?
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, I'll be in Lagos. I am sponsoring the Women in Blockchain event there. We'll be giving out roughly $2 million in Naira, and up to $2 million in Naira. I'm sorry, let's be specific, depending on how many people show up. And we'll be going through we'll be giving away up to $2 million of VE gold. Let me, one more time. we'll be giving away up to 2 million naira worth of VE gold, right, at the event. And the amount depends, of course, on how many people show up. We'll be giving up to $1 grand per person to the limit, roughly, give or take. And we'll have all-day workshop, 2 days, if I'm not mistaken, on using KYC, sending gold, platinum, receiving gold, buying, selling, transferring, redeeming, shipping, the whole 9 yards. And we'll be discussing wealth creation, capitalism, capitalist class versus working class, mobility between the two, etc. Should be a very, very interesting time, and you get to hear the Nigerian women and women from all over the world, and men, even myself, speak. Okay. There's also JVs that we're forming, or partnerships with brokers, etc., and other exciting things which I cannot divulge right now.
I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Once they would, Ned and Ronald would like to know, what is Jeff doing now that he's joined the team?
Jeff is meeting with institutions and looking to do business with institutions. This stuff is rather sensitive, so I can't go much farther than that. But Jeff is very connected institutionally, and we're looking to get these institutions on board in many different ways. Okay? I can't go any deeper than that, but and also this is something you should be able to surmise if you would take a look at Jeff's background. Okay, but that's the gist of it.
Next question
Okay.
from Antonio. What is Veritaseum's turnover volume now, and when will it make its products easy and accessible to millions of people?
I'm not sure what you mean by Veritaseum's turnover volume. If you mean the actual token, I have absolutely no idea. The Veritaseum token, that's our fee, our payment mechanism. If you mean something else, you have to be explicit. What we will do though with VE assets is we're going to have economic velocity figure in, so you get to see how much economic activity is going through in the Veda. I think the Veda has $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 worth of metals there in terms of supply, but that's very misleading because it doesn't show you actual economic activity. People buying, selling, receiving, sending, redeeming, etc. That number is of course materially larger than a supply inventory number. Okay, and you'll see that go up as we start increasing the amount of inventory and assets that are available, and the things you can do with the assets, such as lending and loan. We have a couple of relatively nice sized deals coming up.
Okay. How do you see the effects of Brexit in a macro scale?
Well, we have to see if and how Brexit happens and when. Brexit is unfortunate because it's going to put a significant ding in the UK economy, but a lot of people, or for some reason, have no idea, totally overlooking the damage it's going to do to the UK economy. The UK, I'm into the EU economy. I'm sorry, I'm messing up a lot today. The UK is the second largest economy, right, in the EU. It has the most powerful military, and it's by far the most significant financial center, if not the financial center of all of continental and ex-continental Europe. So it's not as if an entity like that can leave and not leave a mark on the EU. And of course, the same goes for the UK. Property value drops, etc., etc. And I think both sides realize this, which is why, 2-3 years hence, you still have no Brexit.
So Ben Thomas wants to know, where is Very at with JV?
With Jamie. JV. Oh, I answered that. The app not yet to be announced. We're working on deals, okay, to be listed on a particular exchange, and other stuff is too private to discuss.
Okay. Ben Thomas wants to know, when can we expect any of the previously mentioned products to come to fruition? I guess he means like VE Lend and all those things.
Well, a lot of the products are coming to fruition very quickly, so we did VE assets as an umbrella, and then you've had the gold listed, you had silver listed, you had palladium listed, you have multiple denominations of, not denominations, size and rate divisions of silver and gold. And there's more stuff coming down the pike. The next, most likely, I might do one or two metals. I was looking at rhodium, but what we're probably going to see the quickest would be private equity. And the private equity will be listed when the deals are done. So that one's hard to predict, but I'd say within 3 months. It's quite possible that private equity would also become public equity in the not too distant future. Of course, now we're talking about ex-US. Inside the US, within the jurisdiction of the SEC, things are much more difficult to do. So keep that in mind.
Okay, William wants to know, in your opinion, what is the impact of Basel declaring zero risk for gold on April 1st?
Well, it's not much of a difference. That's like saying, what is my opinion on some authority declaring sunlight to be yellow? I mean, gold was relatively zero risk in terms of default before Basel announced it. So that's more of a nomenclature different proclamation. Gold is a commodity, it has some utility use, but relative to fiat currencies, the risk level in fiat currencies with the assumption of risk, meaning downside movement, is significant to gold, and it was always significant. So gold is not zero risk, but relative to practically any fiat currencies, gold is almost negative risk. Okay?
Okay. Any more updates on the additions of real-world assets, digitized versions of assets, private and public equities, commodities, derivatives, real estate, oil, gold,
Okay.
or unique assets to the leader?
Okay, so I discussed private equity, and I discussed how private equity can become public equity through the Veda and the Veritaseum process with potential and actual partners in exchanges. Oil and gas, we were pursuing oil, but oil in the areas that we're pursuing needed special licensure for trading, buying and selling, which we don't have. Hence, we had to partner with those in the business in that particular region. Nigeria is the region we're talking about, by the way, I can tell you that. And I don't have those partners right now. I have a few shortlisted. Real estate, looking for a deal, worthwhile. Debt on real estate, potentially. A lot of that stuff will come to fruition when you see us start listing things on securities exchanges around the world.
Any updates on the broker-dealer front?
None at this time. None at this time.
Okay. There's an article here that they want your opinion on, but you haven't had a chance to read it, so please do that.
Okay, I can't do that.
Any significant products in the pipeline that they should know about?
Well, there's a lot of products in the pipeline. Remember, I'm not throwing out products just to throw, but I am throwing out products relatively quickly, but a lot of these products are coming up as not even proof of concept, but proof of actual demonstrable use. And then we will market these products and accept users or customers for the products, and that's when you see a significant spike in actual use and economic activity. Okay, examples of that: VE Gold, VE Silver, and Palladium, Veritaseum Palladium, and VE Land.
Harm is curious about the dynamics of bear tokens and what they're tracking, and is it linked to a price that certain ETFs? If so, would that information be visible on the Vader? Any general information would be welcome.
It depends on which Veri tokens. Let's separate the Veri token, VERI, which is the prepaid fees. So that's apart and separate. And then you have this Veri subtokens, which usually represent some other value or backed by some other value. So gold follows spot price of gold plus the premium for the Veritaseum, storage, security, insurance, and the use of the blockchain and tokenization and access to our smart contracts. Same thing with the palladium, silver. The real estate will be very, very custom. We're not just going to take real estate, chop it up, and issue a token for a pro rata piece. We're actually going to take full advantage of smart contract capabilities in the blockchain. And the same goes for other assets. It's going to be different from an ETF. The companies that we are now underwriting or building to launch on our partner exchanges, and these are national exchanges, they will have very unique capabilities. So they will do things that contain VE Gold and contain potential income from lending through VE Gold, similar to companies in private equity, etc. And I gave examples of what we were working on earlier. Working on and finishing and coming to fulfillment, fruition, are not the same thing. They're all separate. Okay, we like for all of them to come through. Unfortunately, I don't always get everything that I like, but the fact that we're all working on it means I'm confident that we'll go through, and I'm bullish, and there's a strong chance of it happening. Whether it happens or not, I'll let you know after it's done. We're guaranteed almost to get something done. We can't fail 100%, but just like we won't fail 100%, it's unlikely we're going to succeed 100% as well. So everybody keep that in mind.
Any thoughts on ABRA's Bitcoin investment option for stocks? Does this relate to your roadmap?
I have no idea who they are, so I can't comment on it. Have I thought about partnering with Zillow to sell real estate? No, I have not. I'm still taking questions from you as well, Abby.
Oh, yeah. Do you envision the very platform to become a securities exchange in the future?
No, I don't. But I do envision the very platform becoming a method of peer-to-peer value transfer, and not just the future, but right now. You could take a Veritaseum security and you can send it to somebody else, and you don't need an exchange. You literally can send it directly to somebody else. You have a matter of pricing, price discovery, but that could be done through an outside source, or you can negotiate directly through whoever you're sending it to. Centralized exchanges, centralized brokers and broker dealers and middlemen and agents and other sources of asymmetric information dissemination or lack thereof will be a thing of the past if Veritaseum succeeds.
Are you going to implement your own stablecoin for the very platform?
We have. VE Gold is a stable coin. VE Platinum is not that stable. The reason is it's been shooting up in price. So going up is not stable, even though it's very positive if you're long. VE Silver is another one. But VE Gold makes, I think, the ideal stable token. We actually created a better, technically stable token called VE Stable, but the market preferred VE Gold over VE Stable, and VE Stable is a proprietary mix of metals and commodities, all redeemable upon demand. But VE Gold was more popular, and the customer is always right. At least that's what we tell the customer.
Victor would like to know, where do we submit projects for veritizing real estate deals, optional ownership, or contracted cash flow?
Contact me, Reggie, at Veritaseum.com, and you can CC abisola.shande or eleanor.reed, both at Veritaseum.com. And you could go to the team page, you can see everybody's email addresses off the website. Mine is easy, Reggie at Veritaseum.
So they want to know your thoughts on a community-led Pan-African blockchain standards organization published the draft ICO guidelines. And what do you think?
I haven't read the guidelines, so I can't comment on it, but sounds like a good idea. But other than that, I can't comment on it because I haven't read it.
They want to know when is the Vader going to be out of beta in the US?
From a technical perspective, it's out of beta now, I think. But the US is a difficult regulatory environment to operate in. So we're leaving it in beta, but it's not a technical beta, it's more of an operational beta. Once there's more clarity in regulations in the US, then the beta should be available almost immediately once we have said clarity.
Have you officially announced which African exchange you are working with?
No, I have not. I'm waiting for the African Exchange to announce it, or to give the okay to announce it. We have to go through department after department, et cetera, et cetera. It's not a very small exchange, so it has, it doesn't have the same mechanics as a very small company, and that's to be expected. To rehash my previous answer, many parts of the Veda are available in the US, but I forgot about that. The private equity function style, or the self-sovereign autonomous investment portion is not available in the US. But VE assets is available, VE research is available, and on a case-by-case, pure peer-to-peer basis, VE lending as well.
Will you re-release Veri on other exchanges?
Re-release Veri?
Like, or will Veri be listed on other exchanges?
It may, it's up to the exchanges to list Veri. I don't own an exchange, so I don't have much control over that. We're not gonna pay to have Veri listed. People, exchanges wanna list Veri, they very well may. Veri will possibly trade on the JV partner exchange that we have, but remember that's an actual securities exchange, a national securities exchange, and it's not a digital asset or token exchange, or coin exchange. Whether it is listed on that exchange or not is, up to the exchange or not, so we'll discuss that sometime in the future.
Would you explain the process of discounting metal pricing by spending Veri?
You put Veri up as part of the purchase price, and that Veri would represent more than 100% of its purchase price, which results in a discount. Let's say you purchase $100 worth of a metal, okay? Veri would give you 45 basis point discount for every 90 basis points you put in. Okay, so, I'm sorry. It'll give you a 45 basis point discount for every 50 basis points you put in. So if you put 50 basis points of Veri in, or 0.5% of the purchase price of Veri in, you will have almost 1% reduction in the price of gold, whether it's US dollars or Ethereum. Let me make sure I explain that right. For every 50 basis points of Veri you put in, you'll get or every 55 basis points of Veri you put in, you'll get 90 basis points off of the US dollar F price. So 50 basis points of Veri 55 basis points of Veri will buy you 90 basis points of the asset. Okay, the reason it's measured in basis points is that portion of Veritaseum that buys and sells gold is a bullion dealer, and bullion dealing has very thin margins. So that's actually material and it's significant. If you add the Veritaseum discount to the purchase price of almost all the metals and compare it to anybody on the web, anybody, you see Veritaseum is almost consistently cheaper and materially cheaper than everybody else, especially once you go to the point where there is more margin, like in the smaller denominations such as grams. I did a few tweets. If you look at my tweet history, you'll see where Veritaseum's coming in 17%, 100% cheaper than some of the competitors. It's materially cheaper. Okay?
Will you be doing an IPO for Veri?
An IPO for Veri, initial public offering for Veri? No, that doesn't make sense. I think there's a misunderstanding. Veri are the prepaid fees for our products and services, and IPO stands for initial public offering, is usually the first offering of stocks or equities on an exchange. So the answer is no, but I say that because I think there's a misunderstanding either what an IPO means or what Veri is. So, if you could recast the question or discuss it in the Telegram chat, there's a bunch of knowledgeable guys there that can help clarify.
Would institutions/exchanges buy Veri tokens from current available exchanges or direct from Reggie's war chest? Quote.
Okay, well, that's up to the institutions, so I can't speak for institutions. If they choose to buy Veri, they do it whichever way I think they choose to. I can't. That's a very speculative question. You're asking me to opine on what I think others would do. It's best to ask others what they would do. So some smaller ones may buy from exchanges, some may buy directly from me. I may direct them to buy from exchanges if buying from us doesn't fit for whatever reason. So it's just too many variables and too much speculation and guesswork to go in and for me to answer that question accurately. That's a question based upon price and speculation of very tokens, which is not, it's not what the AMAs are for, and that's not what discuss in terms of Veritasium. One more time, Veritasium is a prepaid fee for our products and services. Bear market and discussions of bear markets have very little to do with prepaid fees. So that's a discussion, you know, for something or some venue, someone else outside of this AMA.
I don't know if I'm saying this right, but do you see banks?
Spell it.
It says, do you see banks, I'm guessing, to
Oh.
the future as a competitor of Veritaseum?
It all depends on the banks. Some banks will compete, some banks will see the light and may even license Veritasium or use it as a platform, and some banks won't even be here because they failed to adjust their business models. So it depends on the management of the bank in general. This is less a bank issue and more of a depth and swiftness of the bank management issue.
Okay. Will Veri ever be for retail/everyday investors?
It can be. It definitely can be. Technically, Veri is available to anybody who has 18 cents USD, 18 cents worth of USD to move around. But it takes, there's a lot more that goes into this than technical ability. So technically, yes. From a financial knowledge perspective or wherewithal, it's a matter of how much you either know or how much you're willing to learn. That's a variable. What a lot of people seem to be attributing to us, which they don't understand that they shouldn't, is when will it be available to a retail investor for retail investment itself. Okay, that is beyond our purview. We live in an environment in the U.S. where you have regulations, and I don't make the regulations. I simply attempt to comply with the regulations, and the regulations right now do not favor retail investors going into high risk, high reward investments that are entrepreneurial in nature. They simply don't. As a matter of fact, it's written law that many of these investments are only available to accredited investors, meaning you have to be fairly wealthy. $1 million in net assets or $250,000 or $350,000 in annual income. Other investments have even higher bar, like a qualified entity or qualified purchaser, $3 million or $5 or $10 million. It's not fair, I have to admit, I don't agree with it. What that does is creates a larger divide than you had before. So if you have someone who's willing to purchase a high risk, high reward investment, if they've done their research, but that investment is put beyond them because of regulation, then, and someone who does have access to them and may not be as astute, they can become wealthier if they choose wisely. Well, the other person who would have chose just as wisely, or possibly even wiser, is barred from it. So now that wealth gap, that wealth divide is expanded. The reason why these regulations are in place is to protect, allegedly to protect the retail investor. But, maybe as an entrepreneurial sovereign type entity, mentally sovereign, I don't think is that, we're going to be protected. We should be protected against cigarette manufacturers, which seem to do a whole lot more damage than digital assets to individuals, or protected against alcohol, or, and just, go down the line. This is not to declare war or disparage alcohol manufacturers or distributors or cigarette manufacturers or distributors, but I am trying to frame the discussion in something that is more realistic. There are many things that do damage to the average mom and pop, and well-researched risk-adjusted reward opportunities, I don't think is anywhere near the top of the list. But realize there's potential bias from our perspective because I'm in the business, but I also think I'm an honest guy. So I hope I answered that fully. And I probably talk too much because the last thing I need to do is anger a regulator since I have to do business here and live here. So hope you're not angry, regulators. Okay.
They want to know why is Veri only available on Mercatox?
I believe it's available many other places in Mercatox, but it's available where exchange is listed. I see on my Twitter feed that an exchange just listed it yesterday. If you go to CoinMarketCap, there are multiple exchanges that listed. I don't keep track of them, but they're there. So if you go to CoinMarketCap, take a look at markets under Very, you'll see, you know, various listings. You can also go to the Telegram chat. I personally don't keep track of that though.
So we're fighting. Is the limited volume on the DApp a hindrance to the use of Veritaseum as an alternative to fiat-based market institutions?
Not at all. Volume has nothing to do with fiat-based market institutions or value transfer at all. I notice, I want to make another point. I think a lot of people have been brainwashed into thinking in terms of traders and equity markets and exchanges. That's not how most value transfer is done. That's not how most business is done. That is how most brokers make money, through churn and commissions and trading. But from an economic perspective, that's not how most value transfer is done. Let's suppose you want to purchase a precious metal that has a high potential for capital preservation or even appreciation. So you purchase palladium. You purchase 2 kilograms of palladium, 600 ounces of palladium, let's say, 1,800 ounces. That has absolutely nothing to do with the volume on the beta. Whether the volume is significant, you know, 5,000, $5 billion dollars of volume daily, or whether it's close to zero, $4 of volume. As long as the assets are there to be purchased, you have access to them. When it's time to sell them, you could sell them directly back to VE assets of Veritaseum, or you could sell them off into the market somewhere else, or you can give them to somebody. None of this has to do with the volume of the Veda itself, okay? And the volume of the Veda, again, it's hard to see because it's not exposed. You just see supply and inventory. You don't see movement, but we're gonna fix that because I want, and that's not broken, we're going to change that because I do want more transparency and clarity so you can see what's going on inside the Veda. It's very interesting, okay? And the Veda was not designed to be a high volume instrument. It was designed to be an instrument that aided in the transfer and storage of value.
Right, last 2 questions we have some minutes ago. Can someone sell physical gold to Veritaseum and get the profit back in assets, asset coins?
You can sell physical gold to us, yes. We would own the physical gold. And now if you're looking to sell, if you're looking to actually veritize your gold, you can do that as well, but you need a, say a minimum of 50 kilograms, okay, as a minimum to make it worth our while, because of very thin margins. Now, if you're looking to sell the gold to us in exchange for a different token, what you can do is you can sell the gold, or you can give the gold to us, we'll veritize it, and then with the Veda, you simply buy one of the VE assets with your gold tokens. And that capability should be up either this Thursday or next Thursday.
Any progress or word from Bermuda?
No, not on Bermuda. Some things have happened in Bermuda, which has slowed things down significantly. And I have, you know, sort of in a rush to get certain things done. And so, where I thought Bermuda would be online December, January, it's one of those several thoughts that weren't accurate. So there is something coming online, hopefully very soon, with significantly less impediment or red tape, okay? And I'm not mentioning that just yet because I've been mentioning too much, but this is something that you'll see when it happens, and it should be happening very soon, okay?
What happens to a VE asset metal when the 3 years of storage and insurance premium built into the token expires?
Well, then we have the option of charging the insurance and storage directly from the asset itself, so we can diminish the asset by the amount of the insurance and storage. And there's always a chance we won't exercise that particular right, but contractually we can. Basically, you don't get storage for free, and if that's something that you don't want to do, you always have the right to have the token redeemed. So you can take gold to your physical, you take possession of your physical directly and have it shipped to you, or you can sell it, whichever you wish.
Last question.
Okay.
Are your vaults audited to match blockchain gold to the physical?
Say that one more time.
Are your vaults
Mhm.
audited to match the blockchain goal to the physical?
Yes, they are. Once a month. You could see the first audit on the research section of the beta. So you go to the menu, left-hand corner, go down to VE Research, and search, I think, audit term, or you could just scroll through it. Or you search for the term audit, you can see it. Okay, I actually have a meeting now, so everybody, before I go, still hit the share button. We have 114 people. Out of 114 people online simultaneously, 44 likes. Show me some love, so hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe, and notify. Okay, I love the community, the Veritaseum community. You guys are very powerful, and I still think, and again, I'm biased, I'm going to admit it, but I still think this is one of the best, most vibrant blockchain ICO companies available, and we're moving heavily into legacy environments and industries, very heavily. Unfortunately, as a private company, I can't tell but so much, but we're at the point now where I don't have to say much. You'll be seeing things happening. Okay, the new versions of Veda are going to be outrageous, outrageous. Veda is extremely powerful for software, extremely powerful. Okay, thank you everybody. Peace and love. And I will try to do this sometime again soon. Have your questions ready.